A nation can be recognized by many things: its flag, its language, its history. But sometimes it can be recognized by a single structure, a structure so famous that one image is enough. No caption, no explanation, no introduction, just a silhouette. And the entire world knows where it belongs. These are 9 structures that became the symbols of their nations and the engineering stories behind them. At number 9 is Christ the Redeemer. This monument was built on top of a mountain more than 700 meters above sea level. That meant every piece of material had to be transported uphill before construction could even begin. Today, Christ the Redeemer is the most recognizable symbol of Brazil. But in the 1920s, building a giant statue on top of Corcovado Mountain was a major engineering challenge. Construction began in 1922. Large sections were built elsewhere and transported to the summit for assembly. Inside, the structure is built from reinforced concrete. The exterior is covered with millions of small soapstone tiles that help protect it from harsh weather. After nearly a decade of construction, the project was completed in 1931. The statue stands approximately 30 meters tall, with an additional 8-meter pedestal beneath it and an arm span of 28 meters. It is not the largest structure on this list, but it may be one of the easiest to recognize. At number 8 is the Taj Mahal. A tomb became the symbol of an entire nation. That is the story of the Taj Mahal. Construction began in 1632 under the order of Emperor Shah Jahan, built as a memorial to his beloved wife. But the beauty of the Taj Mahal is only part of the story. The real challenge lay beneath the ground. The site sits beside the Yamuna River, a location that was far from ideal for a massive stone structure. To create a stable foundation, engineers built a series of deep wells reinforced with timber and stone, an advanced solution for the 17th century. Construction lasted more than 20 years and involved roughly 20,000 craftsmen and workers. The central dome rises to approximately 73 meters, while the 4 minarets at the corners were designed with a slight outward lean. If an earthquake occurred, they would fall away from the main structure rather than toward it. Nearly 4 centuries later, the Taj Mahal remains the most iconic landmark in India and one of the most recognizable buildings in the world. At number 7 are the Petronas Towers. When these towers were completed in 1998, they became the tallest buildings in the world. But the biggest challenge was not above the ground. It was below it. The Petronas Towers were built as a symbol of Malaysia's rapid development during the 1990s. Construction began in 1993 and was completed just 5 years later. The site contained highly irregular limestone formations beneath the surface, creating significant challenges for the foundation design. Engineers were forced to adjust the position of the towers to find more suitable ground. They then constructed a massive foundation system supported by piles extending more than 100 meters below the surface, one of the deepest foundation systems ever used for a skyscraper at the time. The towers rise 452 meters into the sky across 88 floors. They held the title of the world's tallest buildings until 2004. One of their most distinctive features is the sky bridge connecting the 2 towers, approximately 170 meters above the ground. Rather than being rigidly fixed, the bridge was designed to move slightly with the buildings, reducing structural stress caused by wind. Today, the Petronas Towers are not only the symbol of Kuala Lumpur, but one of the most recognizable landmarks in all of Malaysia. At number 6 is the Sydney Opera House. This building was designed before anyone knew exactly how to build it. That was the problem engineers faced when the Sydney Opera House project began. In 1957, Danish architect Jorn Utzon won an international design competition with a bold concept: a series of shell-shaped roofs rising above Sydney Harbour. The design was visually stunning, but it created a major question. How could those shapes actually be constructed? For years, engineers experimented with different solutions. Eventually, they developed a system of precast concrete shells derived from the geometry of a single sphere, a breakthrough that made construction possible. Even then, technical and financial challenges continued to emerge. Costs increased dramatically, schedules slipped, and Jorn Utzon left the project before it was completed. The Sydney Opera House was officially opened in 1973 after 14 years of construction. It measures approximately 183 meters in length and 120 meters in width. Today, it is far more than a performing arts venue. It is the most recognizable symbol of Australia, and proof that sometimes the greatest challenge is not building something, but figuring out how to build it in the first place. At number 5 is Marina Bay Sands. The most difficult part of this project was not underground, it was on the roof. Marina Bay Sands was built on reclaimed land along Singapore's Marina Bay as part of a major urban development plan. Construction began in 2006 and was completed in 2010 at a cost of approximately $5.7 billion. The complex consists of 3 57-story towers. But what made it famous around the world was the structure sitting on top of them. Known as the Sky Park, it stretches roughly 340 meters in length and sits nearly 200 meters above the ground. From a distance, it appears to be a giant ship resting across the tops of 3 skyscrapers. This was also the project's greatest engineering challenge. The Sky Park weighs more than 7,000 tons, and a large section extends beyond the supporting towers below. Engineers had to account for wind, temperature changes, and the small movements of each tower over time. Because every tower moves slightly under environmental loads, even minor differences in movement could create enormous stresses in the structure above. After completion, Marina Bay Sands quickly became the defining image of modern Singapore and one of the most recognizable skylines in the world. At number 4 is Big Ben. For more than 150 years, one of the world's most famous clocks has continued to keep time, and it almost failed before it even began. The Great Bell, weighing more than 13 tons, developed a crack shortly after installation. Instead of replacing it, engineers modified the bell and its hammer, allowing it to continue operating. That bell became known around the world as Big Ben. The tower itself was constructed following the devastating fire of 1834, which destroyed much of the old Palace of Westminster. Construction began in 1843 and was completed in 1859. Although many people refer to the entire structure as Big Ben, the official name of the tower today is Elizabeth Tower. Standing approximately 96 meters tall, it is not the largest structure on this list, but it contains one of the most famous mechanical clock systems ever built. Designed during the Industrial Revolution, the mechanism was engineered to maintain remarkable accuracy despite changes in weather and operating conditions. More than 150 years later, the clock continues to function, a testament to the engineering capabilities of the 19th century. Today, Big Ben remains one of the most recognizable symbols of the United Kingdom. At number 3 is the Eiffel Tower. The most famous symbol of France was once one of the most hated projects in Paris. When the design was unveiled in the late 19th century, many artists and intellectuals strongly opposed it. They argued that a giant iron tower would ruin the beauty of the city. Despite the criticism, construction moved forward for the 1889 World's Fair. Work began in 1887, and just over 2 years later, the tower was complete, an extraordinary achievement for the time. Rising approximately 300 meters above the city, the Eiffel Tower became the tallest man-made structure in the world and held that title for more than 40 years. More than 18,000 iron components were manufactured with remarkable precision and assembled using roughly 2.5 million rivets. The structure was carefully designed to withstand wind loads while remaining surprisingly lightweight. The project that many Parisians once wanted removed ultimately became the defining symbol of France, a reminder that history does not always judge bold ideas the way people do at first. At number 2 is Burj Khalifa. The greatest enemy of the world's tallest building is not gravity, it is wind. The taller a structure becomes, the more powerful wind forces become. And at 828 meters tall, Burj Khalifa faced challenges unlike anything engineers had encountered before. Construction began in Dubai in 2004 and was completed in 2010. From the beginning, engineers knew that conventional skyscraper solutions would not be enough. To reduce the effects of wind, the tower was designed with a Y-shaped floor plan and a series of setbacks that gradually change the building's shape as it rises. This disrupts the formation of powerful wind vortices around the structure and significantly reduces movement. Beneath the tower, hundreds of large board piles transfer the immense weight of the building deep into the ground. The project also set multiple construction records, including the highest concrete pumping operation ever achieved at the time. After completion, Burj Khalifa became the defining symbol of the United Arab Emirates, not simply because of its height, but because it demonstrated what modern engineering could achieve when ambition had almost no limits. And at number 1 is the Great Pyramid of Giza. This structure has existed longer than most civilizations in human history. And that is only the beginning of the story. The Great Pyramid was built around 2580 BC during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, at a time when there were no steel structures, no engines, no cranes, and no modern machinery of any kind. Yet ancient builders created a monument that originally stood about 146 meters tall, making it the tallest man-made structure on Earth for nearly 3,800 years, a record unlike any other. To build the pyramid, approximately 2.3 million stone blocks were quarried, transported, and assembled. Many weighed several tons, some weighed far more. What continues to amaze engineers today is not only the scale of the project, but its precision. The 4 sides of the pyramid are aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions of the Earth, with only a tiny margin of error. After more than 4,500 years of wind, sand, earthquakes, and erosion, much of the structure still stands. Even today, many details of its construction remain a mystery, and perhaps that mystery is part of what makes it so remarkable. Many structures become symbols of a nation. Only a few become symbols of an entire civilization, and the Great Pyramid of Giza is one of them. Most projects begin with a practical purpose: to solve a problem, to create space, to connect people, or to support growth. But every once in a while, a project becomes something more, something that survives long after the construction crews leave, long after the drawings are archived, and long after the people who built it are gone. These structures became symbols, not because they were built, but because they endured.